Truth spoken here with your host, the Maestro Eddie C. McLeod. That's me, y'all. Welcome once again to another episode of Truth Spoken Here. Now, this is my 25th episode, and also this is my 1 year anniversary. Actually, last month was my 1 year anniversary. So I wanted to do something special today. I have a very special guest. This man is truly what you call a Renaissance man, and he is, among other things, he is a poet, a musician, a mystic, and a healer, among other things. Now, so I like to welcome y'all to welcome Mr. Seitu Amenwahsu. Welcome, Seitu.
How you doing, brother?
I'm doing very well. How about you, sir?
I'm pretty well.
Now, Seitu, tell us a little bit about your early life and, what shaped you into the enigmatic being that we see today, including your family life.
Oh, my goodness. I was born and raised here in Columbia, South Carolina. And I'm one of two children. I'm the only surviving member at the moment. I matriculated through all the public schools here in Columbia, South Carolina. Graduated from high school here. I'm a Keenan High School graduate, class of 1979. I'm matriculated through 4 colleges. My most recent, I have a Master of Fine Arts degree from Howard University, and
Wow.
I'm a retired school teacher after 32 years. Teaching in the public schools here in South Carolina. And I've taught in 3 HBCUs in between Allen University, Benedict, and Howard University. And I'm retired here in Columbia, doing my thing.
Great. You want to tell us about you said, now, I know on your social media, I know you mentioned, you mentioned your mom and your brother recently.
Yeah, both of them passed away in the same month, but not the same year. My mom passed away in 2014. My father passed away in 2019, and my brother passed away in 2007.
Okay. Now, Seitu, you're a multifaceted man. You're a teacher, musician, healer, and mystic, as I said, among many other things. Is there any one of those roles that you take more seriously than the others?
No, I do all of them simultaneously. In fact, they're all really they're all the same thing to me, because all of them all of them come together and help me to do my healing work. I use sound therapy, crystal work, Reiki, among other things. I do oracular oracle readings. All of those things are related. Back in the day, in the tradition of our ancestors, they were all used for healing purposes. So those things are just one thing to me.
So how do you manage all these endeavors? I mean, where's the time? How do you get the time to do all these things?
I just do them simultaneously. Whenever I get through doing one thing, I jump right onto the other thing, and I developed that over the last 40 years. It's like I spend some time doing one thing, and then when I get tired, I jump on the next thing, and I just keep it rolling.
So are you like one of these geniuses that has one of those minds that because I know sometimes with creativity, I got the same thing too. It's like because I truly believe that we are just a vessel that creativity, the creator chose to channel these things through, and so we have. I know with me, I have very little control of. I've had like I've actually dreamed songs, and so is it something that you can't turn off? You have no control over? It's going 24/7 pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm basically a conduit. I'm an ancestrally influenced and inspired person. I'm in contact with my African ancestors 24/7.
Okay. So, like I said, the area that I'm most intrigued by is the mysticism / spirituality. Would you care to tell us about your gifts in that area, more specifically? Or more in detail, I should say.
Yeah, the spiritual systems that I engage in mostly are African spiritual systems, and I'm a former African priest at Christ Universal Temple here in Columbia, South Carolina, and I still work with them. I've been a ritual priest now for the last 30 years, and I served in that capacity for about 10 years up until 2011, and then after that, I began to receive channeling from the divine, and I created a new African spiritual system called Akhu. It's about 12 years old now, and it has its own cosmology or creation story, its own epistemology, worldview, axiology, ideology, and so forth. And it has its own spiritual ritual system. And just a few days from now, I have my third book coming out on that, called Akhu Oracle. It is an oracle system designed for people to receive and to do readings as well, in order to get some information from the divine.
Okay.
And, I've written three large books. I've got a fourth one and a fifth one coming out hopefully next year. All of them are on Amazon.
Did you self-publish those books?
Yes, you can order them on Amazon, and if you look under Akhu, you will see my largest book is the first one I published with them. It's an art book on African spiritual and artistic aesthetics. Because primarily my first love is art, painting. I have all of my degrees in the fine arts, and that's what led me into the spirit world.
Okay, I saw this quote on your social media page. It says, music is a spiritual programming tool used to awaken the dormant powers of God residing in you. When you are in tune with yourself, you become at one mint with the ultimate power in the universe. A tone is a primordial sound that awakens and activates the various parts of the Spirit of God within. Once you are in harmony with the celestial music of life, Then you can call out to God note by playing the right sequence of sounds that will make you rise like a star. Come learn the sciences of the spirit. Join Akhu Spiritual Path on Facebook. May Akhu flow in you. Now, would you care to further elaborate on that?
Yes, what happens is our bodies are created through vibration. And musical sounds, colors, and deep breathing exercises are designed to program our subconscious mind in order to change our behavior, to program it. Most human beings, their access to the divine lays dormant within their system, and it has to be awakened through deep breathing exercises, visualization, and chanting words of power, vibrations. And it works on your body's primal brain system at the base of your neck, the base of your skull, to awaken it. And it helps us to bring our animal passion under control in order for the God in us to awaken. And most people is dormant. It's there, but it has to be awakened. And that's one of the things that I feel that's been missing out of Western religions. I mean, the philosophy is okay, but in order for us to behave the way that our master teachers taught us, it has to be inculcated. And the easiest way to do that is meditation. And through meditation, it involves three things normally: visualization, deep breathing, and visualization, and chanting words of power. You have a mantra, so to speak. Ancient African ancestors call it Heka. And in the Akhu tradition, we call it blue spirit mumblings. You have to mumble it, so to speak. And that way, we can all be on the same wavelength in terms of our spiritual development.
So that be like an invocation, sort of?
Sort of like an invocation, but it's more of a sound that you make. And most of the sounds, if you look at Eastern cultures, most of them have mantras associated with their breathing practices, or chanting, like the Buddhist chants, Hindu chants, Zen Buddhist chants, Shinto, and Africans have their own chants within their system as well, depending upon which ethnic linguistic group you're talking in. It's getting to be, it's not as prevalent in the West as it is in the East, but a lot of people are starting to investigate the spirit through using mantras and chanting. And the big explosion with it came in the 1890s and then became blown up again in the 1960s here in the United States.
Now, what do you say to those that you got people that would call stuff like anything mentioning with the ancestors? You got those that would equate that with witchcraft or something, which is, Yeah, it's a misnomer. Yes.
A lot of people think that our people worshiped ancestors. No, they didn't worship them. They venerated them. There's a difference. In fact, ancestral veneration is even celebrated in the Bible. The biblical translators changed the words around to hide that fact. In fact, the word libation in the Bible is called a drink offering. When you pour liquid on the ground and calling out the name of your ancestors to remember them and the great works that they had done in the lineage. In fact, the biggest libation ceremony in the Bible that most people know about is called the Last Supper or the Eucharist.
Right.
So the Apostle Paul even said, I want to be poured out like a libation. Jacob did a drink offering in the Old Testament to call down his ancestors. So it's a ceremony and a prayer, actually, to venerate those who have gone on before you, that have that have done great things in the past.
So, hmm
To keep them alive, you call them out. In African societies, to forget your ancestors, you will actually commit them to non-existence.
wow.
That's worse than hell.
Right. So, uh, so basically, like I know, like back in the day when we used to like be on the corner drinking or whatever. You'd have somebody like with pork, which always made me mad. They pour a little drink on the ground, like this for the dead soldiers and stuff. Like that's a form of sort of like what you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
And also like we talking about in the church, communion is also a form of sort of like what you're talking about, also, right?
Right. In fact, the statement was even made, "Do this in remembrance of me."
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
It's a remembrance and a veneration of those who have gone on before them.
Okay. Now, as we mentioned, you're also a teacher. Or you're a former teacher. You still teach somewhat, don't you?
I teach meditation here in
Right.
Columbia.
So if I'm not mistaken, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I teach meditation twice a month here in Columbia.
Okay. So if I'm not mistaken, one of your students. Now we're talking about music. Now was John Blackwell, right?
Actually, I didn't know John Blackwell. I sat in with him doing a local performance here before he got famous. But he did graduate from the same high school that I did.
Okay, I stand corrected.
I'm much older than he is. I got John by at least 30 years.
I'm not sure, but yeah, maybe. I would say maybe 15, 20, maybe. Yeah.
I got him about 30. He was about 30 something when he passed.
Really? Okay.
And I'm twice that age. So.
Okay. So how well did you know John?
Didn't know John well at all. I sat in with him twice, along with the band that he played with, Robert Newton, who's also a good friend of mine.
Yeah, Robert's passed on also, yes.
Yeah. And so one day he saw me walking down the street, and he said, "You want to play with us tonight?" I said, "Okay, cool. That sounds good." He says, "Okay." So I just walked in there, got my congas and my flutes. Walked in there, and we just did something.
Okay. Now to tell y'all a little bit about Seitu. I met Seitu through Al Black, I believe, and I officially met you really just recently, as far as officially meeting you, since I've been coming out to Mind Gravy again and stuff. And I look forward to your performances each week to close out Mind Gravy, and you often surprise us with your comical interjections, not only while performing music, but also in response to some of the poetic readings by some of the other poets there. And did the tradition of you closing out each session come about as a result of your friendship with Al Black, who's the host of Mind Gravy?
Yeah, I've been doing poetry now, on and off for the last 23. I've been doing poetry now for the last 30 years. And when Al moved to Columbia, South Carolina, we met here. And he said, well, he was wanting to join with his poetry venue. I said, okay, let's do it. So he asked me closing in, just playing a little short thing at the end of the night. Sometimes I would read poetry, sometimes I wouldn't, or didn't rather. But I close out most Wednesday nights. Yeah,
the other week I remember it was funny because you did you were playing the flute and you like you burst into the Sanford and Son theme, and then you went into Fred Nestor thing. That was funny.
Yeah, I like to be a comic at times. It happened to pop into my head, and I just started playing it.
Yeah. Okay. So tell us about some of your current musical projects that you're working on.
Right now, I'm in rehearsal with the Henderson Players down at South Carolina State University. We're going to have a performance Actually, it's opening tomorrow afternoon at 5 o'clock at South Carolina State University Theater, and then again on Monday, and then again on Tuesday. Is it Tuesday? Yeah, Tuesday, and then I come back up. But I'm working with Miss Robinson, who's the director of the play down there. They do an African children's story, and we all dressed up in African attire. And I'm playing djembe along with some other people who are students there at South Carolina State University.
Okay. Now, I would be remiss at this point if I failed to mention that you're also a talented artist, visual artist. I've seen firsthand some of the intricate designs that you can create with a ballpoint pen. Please tell us a little bit about your visual art.
I've been in the visual art. God, actually, that was my first art form. I've been doing visual art now for about 47 years now, and so I did my first official quote unquote painting. I was 15 years old. That's about 1974, 75. So I've been an artist most of my life, a visual artist, and I majored in art all the way through school, and since I've been a little tight.
Yeah, because it's like every time that I come across you, it's like I'm learning something new about you. Because I was at Mind Gravy a few weeks ago, and you were sitting there. You were doing something on a piece of cloth with what kind of cloth was that anyway? With a ballpoint pen.
Yeah, that was a painter's cloth that you get, a carpenter's cloth that you get from the hardware store.
Yes.
And it's about 5 feet long. And so whenever I get some spare time, I just pick out something to start sketching. Or I'm always doodling on sheets of paper, writing down ideas. I carry stuff with me all the time because I never know when the spirit's going to hit me. So I just prepared for it most of the time.
Right. Lastly, do you have any advice or life wisdom that you would like to impart at this time? Before you answer that, because right now we're living in a very stressful time, of course, and I think a lot of people out there are like just looking for some answers and stuff, and some guidance. So
the answer is really inside of us. We do have the capacity to bring about change in our world, but we can't leave it to anybody else. We have to do it ourselves. I know it's going to probably shake some people up, but prayer is not enough. Meditation must go along with prayer, because prayer is when you're talking to God, begging Him for something. But when you meditate, you're letting God talk to you. And see, there's nothing wrong with prayer. Prayer is a form of talking. But as a society, we talk too much. We need to let God talk, because we're not really hearing what God has to say to us. In fact, we're getting it all wrong. But we can stop this tomorrow if we want to. And the reason why you see a lot of wars and stuff going on, because human beings have not yet evolved to the next logical stage of their evolution. People think that human beings are fully evolved. No, we're nowhere near it.
Yeah, because I remember reading something. I remember reading something. There was a book I read probably about 30 years ago. The road less taken. I think it was a self-help book, and I think they had a reference in there to Nietzsche. How Nietzsche talked about how man's ultimate goal is to become Superman, basically. And they're talking another level of consciousness. I think he's kind of alluding to that then.
Yeah, the technology does exist for us to get there. It's just that human beings at large have not decided to do it yet. We're at the adolescent stage right now of our existence, if not preteen.
Wow.
We're not adults yet. when
So,
they were still children.
so mankind has a long way to go toward that development, then, huh?
Long way to go. In fact, if we're not careful, we might not get beyond this stage. Whenever you build weapons of mass destruction that can take out the entire population 12 and 15 times over, that's a very spiritually immature person.
Right. Yes.
In fact, it's satanic. So that means that we have to get out of our lower nature and develop our spirit so that we can become more godlike. The
Yes.
techniques around the world do exist. Akhu is just one of them. But we are venerating the messenger instead of following the message.
Yes. Yes.
And we're getting in too many silly fights over which religion is right and which one is wrong. I mean, look at the condition of the world. The condition of the world is a testimony of the failure of our humanity to follow any of the teachings of the ancient master teachers in the past. We have not done what they asked us to do. None of us have.
Interesting. Interesting observation. So, the answer lies within us, though, right?
It's there.
All right.
And in fact, to program the spirit, you know, the inside of your body, the insides, what are they called? Organs.
Right.
An organ is a musical instrument which can be tuned.
Right.
Through meditation and musical sounds, we can program our spirit to become that which our master teachers have taught us.
All right.
Reading is okay, following scripture is okay, but you must become the scripture in your behavior.
Right. All right. Well, Seitu, I enjoyed having you today, and like I say, hopefully I'll see you soon out at Mind Gravy and other places around town and stuff. So, and like I said, hopefully, like I said, we got like I said, now there's also a visual component of this also that we're gonna put on YouTube for you. So be sure to check that out.
All right.
All right, brother. You have a good evening. Shalom.
Thanks for inviting me.
Yes, sir.
Peace.
Peace. Bye bye.